everyone, and welcome to American Family Insurance DreamBank, where we believe in the transformative powers of dreams. I'm Madeline, and I'm thrilled to have you with us today. For those of you that are familiar with DreamBank, welcome back. And for those of you that this is your first time joining us, welcome. Here at American Family Insurance, we believe communities are stronger and the future is brighter when people are actively pursuing their dreams. That's why we created DreamBank, an inspirational community destination and digital experience dedicated to dreamers everywhere. From our daily event series to immersive signature programs, there's something for every dreamer. Our always free offerings are designed to help you celebrate the dream journey, overcome obstacles, and stay motivated. Now, I'd like to introduce you to today's speaker. Jessica Harrington received her master's in public health at Westchester University. She is the owner of Journey to Yourself, is a speaker and stress management health educator. Through her career and education, she realized that we all have a common issue. Everyone at some point or another struggles with handling stress. Through her own life journey, Jessica created Journey to Yourself. All right, take it away, Jessica.
Thanks, Maddie. Welcome. Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for being on here. I'm going to try to make this a very interactive one. So if you want to video or use the chat box, please do. So let's just get right started. So who am I? My name is Jessica Harrington. My business is called Journey to Yourself. And I started this because of who I was and where I wanted to be. So growing up, I grew up in a drug and alcohol home. There was abuse, there was mental health issues, etc. But I was really known as the happy kid. So I would go to school and be the super happy kid, super excited, be the one that said, "Oh my God, you're amazing. Hello, how are you?" I was the one that laughed at all your jokes. But it wasn't until I got home that I had to switch hats. I had to help take care of the house, help, with my siblings, et cetera, et cetera. But every morning when that alarm went off, I got excited. I got to go to school and change my hat. I got to be the happy kid. And that's who I wanted to be. So I want you to think about it. When you think about stress and when you think about burnout, how often are we trying to be in control of the situation? How often are we saying, if I do this, then this will happen? If I act a certain way, then this will happen. We're trying to be in control. And that's what I was trying to do. So I took that mindset with me of just being the happy kid, being the one that's always there for everybody else, never putting myself first. And so I did this through relationships, through school, through work. And eventually I burnt myself out. At 24 years old, I got into a car accident. And this was my mindset. I had to do something else. I couldn't live this way. But I was very confused because I was sick all the time. I was going in and out of doctors. I'm now falling asleep at the wheel to get in a car accident. I didn't know what was happening. And after so many tests, from Lyme disease to thyroids to diabetes, they then diagnosed me with chronic mono. And basically my doctor sat me down and said, "You need to change your lifestyle." And at this point, I was just so confused because I didn't see what I was doing wrong. I was working full-time. I was going to school full-time. I had that white picket fence house, the white picket fence relationship, right? I was working on the part-time. I was volunteering on the weekends. I was eating healthy. I was working out. What else could I have done? And so that's when he told me about burnout. And he taught me about how to start taking care of myself. So I went to school, got my master's in public health, and started my own business. And so that's what I do now. I educate you on what stress is and the habits to relieve it. So let's just get right into it. What is stress? So I want you to think about it. For you that have kids or a nephew, think about that preteen age, that 10-year-old, that 11-year-old, 12-year-old kid. And they come to you. They have a project that's due probably tomorrow. And they tell you, "I have to define the word stress." How would you define it? How would you tell them? You can chat and put this in the chat box. Tell me how you would define the word stress to a 10-year-old, 11-year-old, or a 12-year-old. They say you say it all the time. You say work stresses you out. You say that your kids stress you out. Daddy, mommy stresses you out. What does the word even mean? How would you define it? Overwhelmed. Anybody else? As soon as you said tighten, how many of us just went, oof, squeezed in their body? That anxious feeling, that pressure feeling. right? These are all different ways we react to stress. And that's the thing, that overworked, right? Just feel like you can't even catch a break. These are things that we go through when we're feeling that stress. But the way you react and the way I react can be a little different. So I want to break this down. Not being able to turn off, that's another good one. That racing thought, especially when you're sleeping. We'll get to that too. Don't worry. So you react to stress 3 different ways. Your first reaction is going to be physical, your body. What are some physical ways that you react to stress? Now, just think body, just your body, just the body. Migraines, headaches, that clenched jaw, blood pressure going up, the tight shoulders. A lot of times we walk around like this, right? Maybe your body just feels so tired. Muscle tension, neck, back, psoriasis, eczema. So when you get stressed, you release the stress hormone, which causes inflammation, which then causes that psoriasis, that eczema, the dry skin. My favorite one that I get now, it's a little good eye twitch. I don't want to get a good eye twitch, right? If you've had a surgery before, if it's in your wrist, stuttering's a good one. That's a good behavior one. Maybe if you had a surgery before, maybe it's in your wrist, in your shoulder, in your knee, and maybe it was 5 years ago. And now you're like, oh, my shoulder starts to bother me, right? Maybe my knee starts to bother me, right? That's all from that inflammation. It's caused by stress. But what happens? Oh, my back always bothered me. My stomach always bothers me. We ignore it. We ignore these signs. Then we have the emotional. You named some. The anxious, that overwhelming feeling. What are some other emotional reactions to stress? Anger. That's a good one. Not many people realize anger is a reaction to stress. That frustration, annoyance, irritability. These are all reactions to stress. There's even the sad. Depression, exactly. And anxiety. These are all reactions to stress. But what do? We tend to ignore it. It's just another day. I'm just in one of those moods. We tend to ignore these signs. The third symptom of stress is behavior. Now, you mentioned some in the comments as well. The no sleep, the stuttering. What are some other behavior reactions to stress? So stuttering, the no sleep, eating habits, whether it's too much, not enough. Withdrawal is a big one. You want to feel isolated. Maybe don't go out as much, just tired. You want to sleep, but you can't sleep, or it's even that oversleeping. You're not getting enough sleep. Where's my Amazon shoppers at? Come on. How many have boxes at their home right now? Come on, right? That shopping. Oh, biting your fingers. You had like all those kugels in between, right? Being short, being that snap, quick reaction, not thinking before I respond. That goes into the cursing, right? Anyone have any teenagers? The stomping, the slamming doors, the sighing. That's a big one. Not everybody realizes that's caused by stress too. It's you're kind of doing that release. But this is what happens. And then we start to realize we're getting stressed. So let's kind of put this on a little bow. So think about this. You wake up in the morning. I love my Amazon. Just saw that comment, Laura. So you wake up in the morning, you go to the kitchen, you put the K-cup in. You sit down, you maybe go check some emails, maybe get dressed, get the kids ready, put the dog out. You go back to the kitchen and you're smelling that coffee. Smells good, smelling good, right? It's going to be a great day. So you grab your mug, you go to the fridge, you reach for the creamer. There's no creamer. There's no creamer, right? Okay, so physical reaction. Maybe it's just a gut. You're like, oh, that's annoying. Then you have the emotional. If I wasn't so stupid, I would have remembered the creamer last night. If I wasn't so lazy, I would have gotten the creamer. Or he never listens to me. He's always too busy doing something else. Then there's the behavior. You slam the fridge, you throw the mug in the sink. Kids, let's go. We got to go to Dunkin' Donuts. But now the kids are fighting over what kind of munchkins to want. So now they get into the car, you sit in the traffic, then you go sit in the Dunkin' Donuts line, finally get your coffee, drop them off the drop-off line, drive to work, and you just sit down. And before you even take that sip of that coffee, Emily emails you about a project. The day is ruined already, right? And now you're just like, Emily, it's only 7:30. It's only 8 o'clock, right? On average, you react to stress 50 times a day. That's the no creamer. That's the kids fighting over munchkins. That's the traffic. That's sitting in line. That's the emails. And it's only 7:30. And we're up to at least 5. But this is the thing. We're having these reactions, but we're not fully processing them because it's just creamer. It's just kids. It's just traffic. But our body doesn't know the difference and we are reacting. So my job today is to give you 5 habits on how to help you relieve stress today. But remember, stress is a reaction to change. So even though it's a good change, you're still going to have a reaction. So all I'm going to do is have you pick one of these 5, put the rest in the toolbox, and pick one to put in the back of your pocket. Okay, first habit, communication. I want you to think about if you ever had a stressful situation because of miscommunication. Okay, everybody should have both hands up right now. It was the tone, it was how I read the text message, it was the way that you typed, right? Miscommunication. So this is what we're going to do. You're going to avoid the words always and never. John, only because you've been commenting, I'm going to pick on you. So hopefully you're giving me permission. I'm home. I'm doing the dishes. John walks in. Hey, Ann, how was your day? You never listen to me. You're always too busy doing something. When I do that, John's going to become what? You never listen to me. You're always doing this. Defensive. And then we get to play our favorite game. We get to do the name calling game. We get to do the thing where we pull things up from 6 months ago. Remember that dress you wore? Remember what your mother-in-law said about you? All true. And we don't talk about the dishes, right? And then what happens is that we avoid talking about the dishes because we don't want to fight it. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to avoid the words always and never. John, on Tuesday nights, I need you to put frozen pizza in the oven and have the dishes done because I work late on Tuesdays and that would be a great help. Now, would it be nice if the laundry was done, the grass was cut, all these things for sure. But I need to meet him where he's at because these aren't in his normal routines, right? Making a big lasagna isn't his normal routine, and that's okay. All I need is that if the dishes are done, that makes me feel good when I get home. That the kids were fed, that makes me feel good when I get home. But remember, we're all human. And so when I catch myself going back and forth, I need to ask myself if I'm in this to win or resolve. Winning is pulling the things up from the past. That's name calling. And we don't feel good after we win. Resolving is thinking about that one thing that I need right now. Just the one. Okay, so first habit, communication. Second, acceptance. A lot of times when we think about acceptance, it's there's nothing we can do about it. When in reality, acceptance means to acknowledge. I acknowledge that when John gets home from work, he needs 10 minutes to himself. I acknowledge that. I acknowledge that even though I use Waze, I still am going to get lost. I acknowledge that. So that means the one thing I have to do is I have to leave early. My goal is always to be somewhere 15 minutes before, right? I acknowledge I didn't get the promotion. So now what? What's the one thing I can do? I acknowledge. The flip side to acknowledging is acknowledging the good. Because if I got on the phone with somebody, wait, this is a point of stress. It really is. When I'm acknowledging, and I could call my girlfriend or my best friend or my husband or whatever on the way home, and I could tell them all about the woes. I could say all the negative things, all the things that aren't good. But how am I acknowledging the good stuff? So I want you to think about your day. My time right now, it's 1 o'clock, 1:15. What is the good that happened to you today? Did you get a new lead? Did someone hold the door open for you? Was your coffee extra amazing this morning? Write in the chat box, what is something that's good that you acknowledge that happened this morning? From now to now, from the moment you woke up to whatever time it is for you now. What is that one thing that you're like, that was good for me today? Today for me, I'll give you mine. Got 2 new leads and they signed. Oh, the sun is shining. A great conversation with your colleague. Some great news. Tomorrow is a 4-day weekend. I like your mindset. Just a good lunch. The baby slept for 6 hours. I think that just needs to be, right? So it's asking yourself, what is that one thing I need to acknowledge and happiness for today? That good thing that happened today. So 2 is acceptance. 3 is your environment. So I want you to think about this for a little bit. There's a couple of components to this. First, it's who. Who is in your environment? Who is in your environment? And I want you to think about it. Right now, we're on Zoom. And you could have side chats right now going, oh my goodness, why did I sign up for this one? This one's dumb. Oh my goodness, I don't like her shirt. Oh my goodness, do you see the colors of her walls? Right? We could talk negative to somebody and we could gossip about somebody and that person not even know. And I say this because a lot of times when we work with people, we get that email from Emily and we're like, oh my goodness, we call our work bestie and we're like, did you see the email from Emily? Lord have mercy. And now we're building this frustration around somebody that doesn't even know they have frustration around them. So who's in your environment? The person that you tell negative to, I want that person to be the same person you call for positive things. That same person you go, oh my God, I just went on this best walk today. Oh my goodness, the baby slept for 6 hours today. They need to be the same person. They need to have that healthy balance. Because it's very easy when we're stressed, when we're annoyed, when we're frustrated, when we're down, to go to that negativity friend and stay there because they keep us there, right? So having that awareness. The second thing for your environment is I want you to think about it. If you ever worked in a clothing store or a restaurant, they've always had opening closing shifts. And if you opened, you're always going, that closer, they never close correctly. Or the opener, why didn't they do the opening shift stuff? You always had a list of things you had to check off. So I want you to think about your office when you go to bed at night. How are you closing the house? How are you closing your office? It's a 4-day weekend. So you're not going to be in your office, hopefully. Maybe at least you're giving yourself some time off. How are you closing that office down? So when you come back on Monday or Tuesday, it's organized, it's clean, right? It's put together. It's set up for you. And then when you open, when you first sit down, before you do all the emails, what's your opening shift look like? How are you getting yourself together? So there's that opening and closing for you, right? And same thing with your house. Now, that doesn't have to be you have to mop every night and things like that, but what are those things that you just have to get done that gives you peace? Maybe it's just the dishes. Maybe it's having the counters wiped down. Maybe it's washing my face. Having that opening and closing shift. The third piece to your environment is what's in it. So I'm going to tell you this story about my mentor. So when I first started my career, I worked in the drug and alcohol rehab. And I was working with men reducing their sentence from jail. And I was doing all these different types of educational workshops and therapy workshops. And my mentor, her name was Miss Kathy. And she was very much the color coordinated woman. If you walked into her office, you could teach any lesson. She was just that organized. So on her desk, she had in the top right coins. And on the bottom left, she had 1 penny. And, the janitor would come in, clean every night, and 1 penny would always sit there. So I said one day, Miss Kathy, what's that penny for? Why is it not in the coin jar? So she told me the story. She told me how her sister was her biggest rock. Her sister was her heart and soul. But her sister got diagnosed with cancer. And when they were having one of the last goodbyes, her sister said, Kathy, I'm going to be here. If you ever feel like I'm not there, look for a penny, because that's going to be me. So a few weeks go by, times go by. Her sister passes away. She sits on the hospital bench by herself. And what do you think was on that hospital bench? That penny, right? So she took that penny with her to work, because where do you spend most of your time? Who do you spend most of your time with? It's not your family. It's at work. So I want you to think about it. Look around your room right now. Look around your office. And I want you to think about, what's that one thing that's in your office that grounds you, that brings you back to here, that reminds you that you are working for something, even on the days that feels like you're not doing anything or you want to give up. And you look at that penny, or you look at that picture, or you look at that noodle necklace that your child made for you growing up, or those funky mugs when they're all like, you can't use them because there's probably a hole somewhere on them, right? What's in your office that brings you joy? You guys have anything? It could be plants. It could be anything. Pictures of your family, kids, a grumpy octopus. That's actually a good one. You guys have to check that out. That's fun. A Funko Pop collection. I just learned about those. Pics of your nephew. Oh, the calendar. Seeing at home. Yeah. Oh, I love that one, Melissa. That's a good one. Right? These are all the things that go, okay, I'm here. Because days get hard and they will continue to get hard. But what's around you that brings you that peace, right? So the fourth habit is mindfulness. And I want you to think about it. What are some ways you would define the word mindfulness? Think about how we asked you to define the word stress. I want you to think about the same way about mindfulness. How would you define the word mindfulness? Aware, present, being in the moment. Oh, attentive, present, right? And these are all common answers, right? Aware, here now, a present, being in tune with your feelings and thoughts. Aware. One of the pieces that is not brought up is the no judgment piece. So it's being in the present moment, aware without judgment. Thinking about that. I dropped my phone. I'm an idiot. I got lost. I'm so stupid. I messed up on that email. I can't believe that. I wrote the wrong date. Oh my goodness. Can I just get my life together? Why can't I just relax? Why can't I just sit here? Why am I like this? In that moment, right? That no judgment piece. I talk about this because we're told not to cry over spilt milk, but we do this to ourselves. We beat ourselves up. There was a study done that said an average 4-year-old laughs 40 times a day. 40 times a day. Now, obviously, a 4-year-old, obviously, have a lot of things to laugh about, right? An average 40-year-old laughs 4 times a day. It's a big difference. And thinking about that in the sense of, I'm crying over the spilt milk. I'm judging myself for every tiny little thing I'm doing. Right? I'm judging myself for being mad, being frustrated, not being happy all the time. I'm judging myself for not feeling grateful all the time. I'm beating myself up. So be here now, right? A nice way to kind of think about mindfulness is be where your feet are. Be where your feet are. So if you find your brain racing, you find your brain going to the future, going to the past, be where your feet are. Number 5, last habit, self-care, self-love. Self-care, self-love. It's kind of paying back off of how you talk to yourself. On average, and you're allowed to have more, you have 60,000 thoughts a day. You can raise your hand if you feel you have more. That's okay. It's all right. 60,000 thoughts a day. 80% of those are negative. So for 48,000 times a day, I'm telling myself I'm dumb, I'm fat, I'm ugly, I'm stupid. And if I tell myself that 48,000 times a day, what's going to happen? I'm going to start to what? I'm going to believe that. I'm going to believe that. And I'm going to look through validation. Oh, there's another reason why I'm not loved. There's another reason why I'm not important. There's another reason no one cares. Right? So I want you to think about this. Think this picture. If you wrote down all the words you said to yourself a day, I'm dumb, you're stupid, you're ugly, you're fat, give up, you're not loved. And you wrote at the top, dear mom, dear sister, and you folded it into a letter and you handed it to them. You would never give someone that you care, that you love, that you respect that letter. But yet, 48,000 times a day, I'm telling myself those things. I'm telling someone that's supposed to be the biggest cheerleader, myself. I'm the one that's supposed to be telling me how much I love myself every day. I'm doing the opposite. So I'll leave you with this part. You set the standards for how others show up for you. If you say they're down here, that's where you're going to be met. If you're the person that says, don't eat in my car, don't wear my shoes in your house, don't call me after 8, you start to raise the bar. So think about how and where your bar is. Where are you having people meet you at? So how do we do all of this? Drink the coffee while it's hot. Spend 1 to 2 minutes with yourself a day. Just 1 to 2. If you do more, amazing. But the point is to make it a habit. You want to do it every day, because when you start to spend time with yourself, you start to learn what you want and what you need. When you learn what you want and you need, you set those boundaries. You have that communication, right? So for the last minute, what is the one habit that you're taking with you today? Is it communication? Avoiding the words always and never? Asking myself if I'm in it to win it or lose it, or resolve it, sorry. Acceptance, changing my mindset and saying this acknowledgement. Environment, mindfulness, or self-care, self-love. Which habit are you taking with you today? And also in the chat box, and I'll give this to Maddie too, I'm going to give you my time management guide too. It's free. I'll give you all my information. And if you need anything, like I said, I do the one-on-one client work, and I also do this educational workshops as well and speaking engagements. But also, I'm seeing a lot of mindfulness. I'm seeing a lot of communication. Go ahead, Maddie.
Oh, I just was getting ready to pop on and kind of share one of my takeaways and also
Oh, yes,
something that
please.
I do with I am a new mom, and so life has looked a little different. My baby boy just turned 5 months. And so, one thing though that has been really helpful in my self care journey with my husband, and definitely us as a unit, if one of us is suffering, then the team is suffering, is kind of our mentality. And so, we really want to make sure no one gets to a critical point in our family, because that just is so much harder. And so, when you are at the hospital, they have like your pain scale, like 0 to 10. And
Yeah.
so Nick and I have done that for a few different things, but like energy, stress. And so we have what 0 to 10 looks like, and we have the cards in our bedroom, kitchen, and then in our living room. And so we filled it out, but like 0 to 10 for stress. And then we have like what those look like too. Cause like at the hospital, like a 7, like it might be this, where they spell out and then how to fix it. And so I have a card for myself, like what is 0 to 10 for stress. And then I have what a 5 looks like, ways to mitigate it, what a 7 looks like. And I kind of spelled out the big ones. And that also helps. So I can tell my husband, like, hey, I'm at a 7 today for stress. And so we stole it from yeah, we've just like I don't remember who we stole it from, but it's been really helpful. And it's like it's not comparative because he has his own card too, and his 7 for stress looks a lot different. I'm pretty moody. My stress lives right next door to anger. And so when that kind of builds up, I get just really short and I get really upset that the bottles aren't done. And so, but my husband, that's like a number. When I start complaining about bottles, that's a number 5. And so then he's like, whoa, Madeline, this is where I think you're at. I'm going to invite you to take a pause. And so we also do like, I'm going to invite you to take this opportunity to do this. And it's been really helpful. And so, like, I know when I'm at a 5, a 15-minute break outside of the house um, is instrumental. Now, there's been times where it's been raining and I'm just literally take the car and drive around the neighborhood and listen to 3 Taylor Swift songs, and then I come back. And so that's just something that we've been really helpful. Like, how do we um, communicate to each other and kind of state our needs without putting someone else's down? And there's room, and we also pick each day one need that needs to get done before we go to bed, and then we list like 3 wants. And so we just make sure before my want is to go for a walk, that Nick's need is met before and vice versa. So it's not like someone has all their needs done or wants done, and I didn't get my need to take a shower or to repack my work bag, whatever it is for the day. So those are just some things for like I have been putting into practice, and the kind of I was and some things to resurrect too, but I really appreciate this and I love learning alongside of everyone. I think that's something that is really great. We had 25 people on the call, and a large number of people register and reach out before the event started, being like, "Hey, is there going to be notes on this afterwards?" So I just want to encourage you that if you showed up today, you're not the only one struggling with this. This is something that Jessica and I booked forever ago, and I was like, I need this. So that is selfishly something that I've been looking forward to. So I just want to thank everyone for showing up, and I'm definitely going to be working on communication this upcoming weekend. My little starts daycare on Tuesday, and that's a big shift that I have a lot of stress and anxiety about. Some rational, some not. But one thing I also too with my postpartum journey. What I'm feeling is real, even if it's not based in reality. And so, kind of just setting that expectation and not discrediting sometimes things that I'm feeling, even if no one else is. So, those are some of my little tips and tricks and things that I have been doing. But I'm really excited, and we will be sending a link out afterwards. But yes, there is that. And Jessica, I will pass it off to you if you have any other closing remarks. I realize I clicked the button too soon, but thank you everyone for joining and attending.
No, thank you, Maddie. And I'll send you, Maddie, if it works out for you too. I'll send the time management guide, my email, and I also have a write up because I know you said some people are going to check in later of everything you just went through today, so they have all the reminders as well. So reach out for me if you need anything. Like I said, I do this one-on-one client work, and I also do the educational workshops more onto this. So whatever you need, I will be supportive for you. Okay, everyone have a great day.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.